What's up, everybody, and welcome back to The Intern. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, another interesting video for you here on the channel. Today, it's kind of the off season. I've been in the off season for 2 weeks now for my one of my leagues, 1 week for another league of myself. So we're going to be talking about a lot of off season content and a lot of things like that. If you are somehow, some way still in the playoffs when the season's still going, I bless your heart. How? I don't know how you could do that, because you could literally pick up a random player that's playing for the Jazz or the Hornets and they might get a 40 bomb for you. So we're going to talk about some players that you kind of need to trade as soon as possible. I'm already looking for some trades on my players that are on this list. But it is really, there's a lot of players. A lot of it is surrounding free agency and the question marks around it. And then there's a lot of question marks on, why am I blanking? On just the future of players, and maybe they're at such a high point of the season, there's not really, you could sell them for a really good price. So we'll talk about it starting with LeBron James, who is going to decline his player option in the offseason, but sign a contract that's going to stick with him with the Lakers. Now, how long is a contract? Because however long the contract is, in my opinion, that's probably how long that LeBron has to truthfully play in the NBA. If it's a year, maybe next year's his last year. I don't think next year will be his last year, only because I think if he's 1 year away, I think truthfully he can maybe wait out for Bryce. And I think waiting out for Bryce would be really important for him, because if I'm not mistaken, Bryce will play college next year. And be draft eligible the next year. So next year, his last year, Bryce's rookie year, could be where he decides to go. I think that's a viable option. I think that makes a lot of sense for him. But yeah, I think if he has 2 years left, I would sell him as soon as possible on how high you can get, because let's be honest here, at the end of the day, this is my whole thing with LeBron. And I think this is why I have him number one on here. Is, do you sell him for literally just a first round pick and he has 1 or 2 years left, but at least you'll have that pick, whatever, for the future? Or do you keep him till he retires? Because till he retires, he's going to be a walking bucket and will help you on your team. I think personally, if you're a win now team, if your assets and everything are going to fall off in 2 to 3 years, I would keep him, so then you have, full rebuild when time comes. But if it's a losing team, you're kind of in this missed area, sell them as soon as possible and kind of commit to an area. Personally, in one of my leagues, I'm more of a win now team. I'm probably going to keep him for a year, then maybe try and sell him for something for the last year that somebody can have him. But truthfully, I just have to believe that LeBron is going to produce, so whatever you do might not be a bad decision. It's just, if you can sell him now for a really good price that you won't regret, you should do it, because I think if people are willing to pay the price, you should get that price. Up next is Cam Thomas. So my worry with Cam Thomas mostly relies on how the Brooklyn Nets see him as an asset, because if it's Cam Thomas, in my opinion, the Nets were looking to trade him. And if they're already looking to trade him, you shouldn't look at him as a great fantasy asset. Fantasy and real life are two completely different things. When you're looking at Cam Thomas fantasy-wise, he's going to get you the points. He's going to look great. But when you look at him real life-wise, he's a defensive liability. Sometimes he takes a lot of the shots. There's only pure scoring and nothing else. He's a good six-man, but that role isn't going to be a great fantasy asset if he's a six-man. Now, I believe Cam Thomas on a lot of teams will do great and will score and be great for you. But with the Brooklyn Nets, I think they know that in the future you need defense to win championships. Cam Thomas is not a winning player when it comes down to it. They're going to get 4 first-round picks this draft to come in and really help this team. I have to say that Cam Thomas is going to be on the downfall, and if you have Cam Thomas, I would sell. Up next is James Harden. This is more likely not looking at free agency. Kind of free agency, because he is on a player option. This is more looking at James Harden. His season he just had was incredible. I think fantasy-wise, no one expected him to be as good as he was. He was really carrying the Clippers, and really was helping the Clippers become a amazing team down the stretch. And I think going to lead them to the playoffs. So James Harden did very well in that asset. But There was a lot of injuries with Kawhi. Does James Harden repeat the same exact season last season? I don't think so. And because of that, I believe James Harden more than likely should be traded this offseason if you can get him, or if you can trade him away. Because he just came off a really great season. Everyone's thinking, oh my gosh, I got James Harden like this. Next year, probably a slight decline. And there's question marks even if he's going to stay with the Clippers. I personally think he will, because I think he's at the end of his career where he's fine with staying with the Clippers and just keep trying. I don't think he's going to force himself to go to a different team. I believe that James Harden is a all-star type of player when he plays as good as he does. It's just, truthfully, I just don't see the same all-star productivity that we see this season. So James Harden, likely to me, is somebody that you have to trade away. Up next is Fred VanVleet. This is more free agency because right now he has a team option on the team for $42 million. I expect this to be declined. Now, that makes a lot of sense, and there's a lot of question marks on that. Because if Fred VanVleet gets declined, what happens? Does he sign back on a very cheap deal? Does he sign back with a team-friendly deal? Does he seek the most money and go to a contender? What happens? I think the Rockets are a contender, let me say that. But I mean, like, does he go to somewhere else where he can get more of a role and go to a contender? Does he try and just get money and he goes to a, bad team and he's getting $30 million, but also, I don't think $30 million, $25 million, but it's a long-term contract, but he's on, like, let's just say, I'm just trying to think of a team, the Nets even. Just throw up a team. I don't know. Because I think no matter what, even looking at the Rockets, his team, his role, whatever, is going to be very limited. They have Amen Thompson there. Amen Thompson has shot up and really showed off that he is, truthfully, the point guard of the future, or at least in the starting lineup of the future. Maybe there is somebody else that will run the point forever, but to me, Amen can easily be that point guard and could easily be somebody that has great playmaking skills. Does Fred stay with this team? I'm so back and forth. I think with how he's been playing at the later half of the season and how inconsistent he is, I think the Rockets will move on. But a team-friendly deal would make tons of sense as well. Up next is Alex Sarr. So, Alex Sarr is somebody I keep thinking, do you sell, do you not? He played really, really good this last end of the season. And a lot of people see superstar potential with him. I'm going to be honest. I had Alex Sarr at some point, but this is what I keep coming back to. The Wizards are at the start of their rebuild. Alex Sarr was one of their players that they felt really comfortable with. I think Alex Sarr will, of course, be somebody that stays there for a while. I think he is the second or third star, second at his ceiling. And to be honest with you, that's saying something because that's like a Evan Mobley situation with less scoring and not as much assist and maybe a little less defensively. Truthfully, I think Alex Sarr is great, but I am not seeing superstar potential. I see star, if anything. I just believe this is where we're going to see Alex Sarr become in the NBA, where he's at right now. And I think he could go maybe a little bit better, but when you have possibly a Dylan Harper, Cooper Flagg going to the Wizards, then next year you have such great prospects as well. It just tells me in my head, Alex Sarr is not going to be a top star in this league. And if that is the case for the Wizards, sell him on people that think he will be. Because if they do believe that he will be a top star in this league, you got to sell on that knowledge and what they think. Up next, we have Kevin Durant. It is so clear that Kevin Durant will leave this Suns team this offseason. Maybe not. Maybe somehow a trade doesn't happen. But this Suns team is the 11th seed currently. It's not looking good for them. It's looking horrible, if anything. I just have to believe that Kevin Durant is gone, going to try and find a real contender, and going to sacrifice his scoring and maybe points in a certain way so that he can really be a part of just a winning team. Maybe Mavericks. You still have Kyrie and Anthony Davis there. But truthfully, I just think that they're going to sacrifice a lot, or he's going to sacrifice a lot of his fantasy production on our eyes for a ring. And you can't blame him for that. It's a good, maybe real-life move for him. But fantasy-wise, it's bad. And for the Suns, I just don't see that Kevin Durant and Suns relationship continuing. And if that's the case, I would sell on him. I just think he's too old in his career. He has less productivity on most teams. Kevin Durant being gone is probably the most likely scenario, so please sell him so that you can sell at least a little high, because there's no sell low on him right now. It's really truthfully going to be, if he gets traded, it's going to be bad trying to sell him again. Next is Stephon Castle. This is a controversial take, but I just have to say that I believe the Spurs like Stephon Castle, but he is not going to be the all-star Jason Kidd like I've seen some people's predictions. I think you have De'Aaron Fox there, Victor Wembanyama, and then you really have a good chance because of how they're tanking to get another high draft pick, and you have the Hawks picks. You have picks galore for the next upcoming seasons. There's going to be a ton of talent coming in. There is a ceiling already on Stephon Castle and how much he can produce. I think with everybody being there, Stephon Castle doing decent, but I just have to say when a lot of players are out, there is a ceiling on how much he can go and how far he can go, and it's not his fault. It truthfully is, because you have obviously Fox and Wemby. That's the duo. Then you're going to have all these picks that are going to still need the ball as well, take away from Stephon Castle. And I could really see, let's say they get somehow a top 4 pick, Stephon Castle taking a little bit of a back seat on maybe somebody's pick. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.